your MIIAB Lobbyist, with one of the most anticlimactic post-session updates that I have given in my more than I care to admit years of lobbying at the Minnesota legislature. On May 17th, the state's constitutional adjournment date, the legislature adjourned in the middle of the afternoon instead of working right up to the midnight deadline, and they adjourned without passing a single budget bill for the next biennium. As the legislature was headed into overtime, Governor Walz and the legislative leaders, DFL Speaker Hortman and Republican Senate Majority Leader Gazelka, reached an agreement on budget targets, which will guide the work of the legislators as they try to hammer out the details of a $52 billion state budget. So what was actually resolved? Well, not much. Budget targets are simply the agreed to amount that each budget area can spend, and that's it. The deal does not resolve any of the hard policy issues that legislators have been fighting about. The issues left to be resolved include police accountability, California emission standards for Minnesota cars, the continuation of Governor Walz's emergency powers, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. So what's next? Legislators will meet over the next month to try and resolve the policy differences between the House and the Senate so they can pass the resulting bills when the governor calls them back into special session. And that is no small challenge. The DFL House and the Republican-controlled Senate have not agreed on much thus far this year. Out of the over 5,000 bills that have been introduced this year, only 16 have reached the governor's desk. 2 of those 16 were bills that I worked on, including our CE modernization bill. So my batting average is actually better than the legislature's. But this report's not supposed to be about me, but it's to bring you up to speed on what we have been doing to protect the interests of you and your clients and what's left to be done. The one policy area in which the governor and legislative leaders reached an accord was on taxes, and this is very good news for MIIAB members who receive PPP loans. After months of urging House DFL members for full conformity with federal tax forgiveness, the House finally relented and agreed to state tax forgiveness for PPP loans as well as for unemployment benefits. Given that the tax deadline has already come and gone, the details on how the tax forgiveness will be implemented still need to be worked out. The hope is that the Department of Revenue can handle it automatically without requiring additional filings, but that has yet to be determined and may not be figured out until the forgiveness provision is actually enacted, which will hopefully come during the June special session. Also still in play is the Department of Commerce's cybersecurity bill, also known as the NAIC Insurance Data Security Model. This bill remains a top priority for the DOC, but there are differences between the House and Senate versions of the bill that have yet to be resolved. Several of the differences being discussed are new provisions that could impact MIIAB members. While our small agency, 25 or fewer employees, exemption from the bill's onerous data security plan and investigation requirements remains in both bills, the House bill gives agencies that grow beyond 25 employees only 6 months to fully comply with the bill's requirements. Another concerning provision, which is also in the House bill, was added by the trial lawyers and is an attempt to access confidential documents submitted by agencies or insurers to the commissioner in the case of a breach. I'm working closely with the House and Senate Commerce chairs and partnering with our insurance company friends on these and other provisions. Because the bill is a significant priority for the DOC, it will still likely pass. The question is, what will actually be included in the final bill and what will the impact be on you? Stay tuned and we'll let you know when the cybersecurity bill becomes law and what that means for you and your agency. Thankfully, one issue that will not be part of the continuing legislative negotiations is the extension of the workers' compensation COVID-19 rebuttable presumption. As you know, last spring, the legislature provided certain frontline workers, such as EMTs and healthcare workers who contracted COVID-19, with a rebuttable presumption that they contracted it on the job and were, therefore, eligible for benefits. This spring, there were attempts in the House to provide a similar presumption for teachers and other workers. We partnered with the IFM and the business community to oppose this provision in order to protect the integrity of Minnesota's workers' compensation system. As a result of that opposition, the bill died. The only presumption-related bill that did pass this session was supported by the Workers' Compensation Advisory Council, and that bill extends the life of the rebuttable presumption for frontline workers from May 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2021. While we defeated attempts to expand the presumption this session, we can fully expect other attempts next session to further expand comp coverage, and we will be there to help protect Minnesota's comp system. There is still a lot of work to be done in St. Paul, and hopefully I can actually be in St. Paul to do this work. There are rumors that the fencing will come down around the Capitol building on June 1, and it will once again be open to the public, and more importantly, from my perspective, lobbyists. In addition to the cybersecurity bill, the fate of the health insurance reinsurance program hangs in the balance, and the House DFL is still pushing the first steps towards a public option. The state-run paid family and medical leave program is still on the table, as are proposals that would limit an employer's ability to use credit information and salary history in the hiring process. As legislators will now do most of their negotiating behind closed doors, the difference between winning or losing on an issue can literally come down to physically being in the right place at the right time. Regardless of the format, you can be sure that MIIAB will be there for you and your clients. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.